Sophia Soto
Hi.
with Screensphere. How are you?
Good to see you.
It's so good to see you. I was so excited that you had a new show
Oh
coming out.
my
I was like,
gosh, I
finally, I'm
know.
going to get to talk with her again.
I'm as excited.
Well, you should be because the show was amazing from what I've seen, and I'm eagerly awaiting the rest of the episodes. Congratulations on another
Thank
incredible
you.
performance.
Thank you. I really appreciate
Of
that.
course. Of course. So I have to ask you, when you first read the script, what was kind of the first thing that stood out to you about the story and how it was being explored?
I mean, oh my God. It's like when I first read the book, it felt so, I had never, from like a literary standpoint, and even anywhere kind of in pop culture, I had never felt so understanding and seen by the themes of the book. And it being, me being API, me being in TV, all of it was just overwhelming. And I freaked out and got kind of weird and then was like, oh my God, if I don't, I need to be a part of this show whenever this happens or this movie or whatever. And then when I saw that the show was being made, I pretty much just like stalked the project and harassed my team and was weird about my auditioned, like made a tape and was insane about it and was like, I gotta send it at the right time. Like I turned into a crazy person. And then they hired me and now I'm talking about it. So maybe I should talk about that less. But it was, yeah, I mean, the process, I really just, I, it felt like something I had to do and it's like a story I had to tell. Yeah.
I love that you read the book first.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely love that. Did you kind of use, I know everyone has their own process of whether they stick to the script or go to the source material. Did
Mm.
you kind of either reread the book or go back to certain parts to use it in addition to the script? Did you kind of mix it or did you try to keep it apart?
Great question. Yeah, the book was always there as a reference, but because we expand the world of the book so much within the show, and that was in and of itself. I think the tricky part, because thematically we're obviously very much in the world of Interior Chinatown, the book, but bringing all of that to life technically, and giving color literally to that whole world was, I think, probably more of a challenge because with a book, you're like you're giving that duty to the reader. You're like, okay, you decide what that looks like when this person walks in and what this world looks like and what this world looks like. Whereas for the show, we really have to like technically build that out. And so there's a lot of really fun Easter eggs in the show for people who love TV and love film. The lighting is completely different for different worlds. The lighting for Lana is a hybrid of both. It's all metaphorical. The camera movements and the way that everything is shot is a nod to various different things, and it changes within each character, and then it shifts throughout the show. And so, as a TV production nerd, I had an absolute blast getting to kind of geek out every day and try to figure out what we were doing because we really were kind of figuring it out on the fly as well.
I am someone who loves the smaller details, like hearing about them, trying to find them. So I know as an actor, you probably have to do a lot to get into character, and
Mm,
audiences wouldn't necessarily notice everything because they're
right.
trying to deal with the bigger story. But is
Yeah.
there something you kind of used? Maybe it was a wardrobe piece, maybe it was, something you came up with regarding her background that helped inform the way you portrayed the character that maybe audiences wouldn't pick up on?
Oh my God, so much I like think people think it was probably annoying, but I think more so than I've ever before where, very, I mean, I guess like aesthetically, I had a huge there's a Winona Ryder, it takes place in the 90s. It's kind of vague, but it's 90s. And there's a Winona Ryder interview that I loved, with her in a completely buttoned up, um, uh, suit coat and blazer. And for me, that was a big posturing for Lana because she's introduced through the lens of a very intentional, male gaze. And I think that she at that point in her life is tired of that. And I think her being very covered up and still, you know, being sexy in her own way and not
Mhm.
really encouraging that kind of um I guess that kind of gaze. That was an intentional thing. I mean, little things like
Yeah.
I'm in my car a lot and I made the car, it was filled with shit, like clothes and bags and notebooks and food. And like, I really wanted her to feel like she lived in her car. And so there are there's like little things like that all the time. I have a toothpick in the show almost every scene our poor
Mhm.
editors, bless our editors for having to, but that became of like, she really, at first we think it's kind of like a cool thing, but really it was like a pacifying thing for when she's more uncomfortable. So I had little things like that constantly throughout the show that I think I had fun with.
I absolutely love that answer. And very quickly before we wrap, if you could be a background character trapped in any show that you're a fan of, past or present, which would you pick?
My God, a background character.
I knew I had to end on that question.
Probably like, okay, it would either be like Great British Bake Off, um, or like like Housewives, something. You know what I mean?
I love you,
It's like to
Chloe.
be a background in a Housewives episode, that would be, I would be thoroughly entertained. I'm not in it, but I'm there. I'm watching. I'm just sipping, a Chablis. That would be really fun. Um, Probably that. Yeah.
I
Probably
love it.
both of those, both some version of both of those.
You're
You
the best.
again.
Thank you
You're
so
awesome.
much.
I'm so
Yeah,
happy to have this conversation again.
I know. We'll talk again soon.